Stand at the top of your mat. You're going to step back into lunge. And this is a lunge that you could move in any direction if you needed to be. So you want to feel equal weight between the front and the back legs and feel like you could go in any direction. Then we're going to fold over the front leg, adding load to the back of that front hip. And then placing the hand on the block, we're going to play with starting to add some rotation. And rotating in such a way that the upper body is rotating but the hips are staying steady. And then picking up the block, I'm going to lift it up to chest height and imagine pulling the block apart as we reach the shoulders and the head behind us. And bringing the block to the chest and adding a press. And extending the shoulders and head back towards the back heel a little bit more. Then we're going to fold over that front leg again, letting the back toes this time get light. Hinging over that front leg. Just tapping the toe and hinging. And this time then we're going to add just some little airplane squats. Don't worry about how deep you go, just sense the coordination between your ankle, your knee, and your hip. And then again tapping the toe and playing with hinging or pivoting over that standing leg, pressing the block between the palms. Then you're going to bring the knee up and out, bringing the sole of the foot onto the standing leg into tree pose. Think about pressing the ground away with the standing leg, pressing the standing leg and the sole of the foot into one another, pressing the block and breathe. And then we're going to reach the block back behind, find the heel to the block, press the heel into the block, feel the hamstring activate. If you feel the low back, play with moving the knee further back or out to the side. And the knee comes up, pressing the block, and then reaching back, a new height on the block if that feels like something you want to do. Finding the isometric load at the back of that hamstring. Again, pressing the block, bringing the leg up into flexion, working the front of the hip here to lift the foot off the floor and the knee a little higher. Letting the standing foot be responsive, and then coming back to standing. Again, stepping back into lunge, and a lunge that could have you go in any direction. And we're going to fold over that front leg, loading up that front leg, the back of it. Bring a hand to the block, and again, just rotating, turning the chest, breastbone to the wall. Pressing the hand into the block, rotating and reaching, steady in the legs. Easy breath. Coming up. Again, you're going to pull that block apart, reaching the shoulders and the skull back towards the back heel, bringing more load to that back leg, feeling the front of the hip stuff. If you don't feel much front of the hip stuff, just don't bend the knee quite so much. And we're going to load up that front leg, launch onto it, just touching the back toes and then hinging over that standing leg. Again, bringing in some little micro squats. Doesn't matter how deep, just feel and sense the coordination between your hip, your knee, your ankle. Letting the sole of the foot be easy and responding to the floor. And then coming into these little airplanes over that standing leg. Toe tap down, leg reaches back. Nice and long from the crown of the head to that heel. Pressing the block between your palms. Coming up, bringing that leg into some external rotation. Finding the standing leg with the sole of that foot. Pressing the ground away with that standing leg, and then pressing the standing leg and the sole of the foot into one another. Breathe here in tree. Then we're going to reach back. Wobbles are okay. just fall out of the pose and come back in. Find the heel with the brick, find that isometric load in that hamstring. And take a break at any point through this sequence. It's a lot of work. And changing the aspect of the block if that feels like something you want to do. Finding the work in the belly of that hamstring. Knee comes up. And then coming to standing Tadasana for a moment. Just breathe here. Feel flow and movement of current through your body. And then pulling the block apart, we're going to split hands and go into cow face arms. So one hand reaches up and the other down, and then grabbing onto the block, trying to pull the block apart. And just feel how that action of pulling the block apart changes what's happening at the front of the shoulder. And as you feel some work around the shoulder blades and between the shoulder blades at the back of the body. Steady in the legs, easy breath. Switch sides. Bottom hand takes the block and then becomes the top hand. Top hand reaches around behind and becomes the bottom hand. Doing this without visual reference can be tricky and challenging. And then again, pulling the block apart. Feel where the work is in the back. Easy and steady through the feet and the legs. The breath. Then releasing, coming back to Tadasana. And just notice what you notice here.